Hello, everyone. This is Jay. We're back with another podcast. I'm here with your boy Chris in the house, and also I got my boy Homer here.
Hey,
And
YouTube, what's up?
yeah, and I just wanted to touch base. I want today to be like a Q&A. You guys can chime in with any questions you have. And I just wanted to talk about living in the Philippines. The differences between there and the U.S. I know before I told a lot of people see my clickbait. That's what it was. And it wasn't really clickbait, but of course I can go back to the U.S. It's just I don't choose on going back anytime. Meaning I do want to go back and see my son. I do want to go back and visit my family. I'm definitely going to do all of that. I actually want to do that soon. But I was just pretty much touching base on, as you guys seen, why I love it here in the Philippines, the differences, which I can go more in depth with now. And yeah, I would just love to answer any of you guys' questions. I really would. And if you guys have any questions, you can join in with us while we're talking. But we're gonna go over some different things that we like. It's great because we have Homer on the line. He travels back and forth from the U.S. to the Philippines all the time. Has a wife from the Philippines. We have your boy Chris, who's pretty much asking questions. He can ask us questions like he's one of you guys that's trying to come over here. And then we also have you guys. So we'll do it like that. And yeah, so Homer, what's up? I know you coming down here in September.
Yeah, I'm coming back for actually a month. I say it's like this: three to be free. I mean that being, you need to travel there at least 3 times to really understand and get a grasp of the Philippines, and then you'll understand exactly why we say what we're going to say tonight. You come the first time, you get a taste of the Philippines, you just kind of explore, learn some of it. You come back the second time to indulge more. Now you have an idea of what you're looking for and where you're going. That third time, you're trying to settle in as to where you want to stay when you come. So we'll
Hmm.
touch base on that a little bit more tonight.
Yes, definitely. And yeah, we got your boy Chris here.
What up, people?
Yeah, me and him talk about this a lot. And like some of the things we talk about is the cost of living. All right, so I definitely want to touch base on that. I was just about to say, I said, you know what, let's get this podcast started. We started a little late. We was having a nice conversation, and the cost of living. Like yesterday, I went and got me food. You know, um, I spent 1,600 pesos, and that food's gonna last me a week. But I made sure I got a lot of vegetables. Because you get a lot of vegetables, that's gonna have you full longer. Actually, that will have you full longer. It's healthy and I cook so many different vegetable dishes. So I got a bunch of vegetables. I got that's pretty much it, and that's gonna last me a week. And 1,600. What is that? $40, right? Home $40.
Yep, it's about almost
Yes.
50 to 1 now. It's 49 and some change.
Yeah. So I spent $40 on that. I usually spend more than that. I usually spend about uh no, that's less. I think because 40 is 2,000 pesos, but that's usually what I spend. I usually spend 2,000 pesos a week, because me and my wife, that's what it takes for both of us to eat. And, that doesn't count going out, having fun. Or like, say if you go to a movie or something, I think it's like the same price in the US. Like things like that are gonna be the same price. Like a movie, you get a movie ticket for like 265 pesos, 250, something like that. Don't quote me on it, y'all. But it's around $5 for a movie ticket. Things like that. Things of that nature. It's inexpensive. It's a different, it's a change of pace. You know, um, my pace has been changed for a while. I can't lie to you guys. When I was in the U.S., I was home because I worked at home. I was home all the time. When I'm here, the thing about it is I'm able to do more. Where I'm from New York, and your boy Chris knows he's from there. There's really nothing to do out there in New York but spend money. Very very expensive place to live. Your boy Chris can tell you he's out on Long Island. It's crazy over there what you pay for rent. I had apartments out there. I was paying over 1,000. What's the rent now out there, your boy Chris?
They're about the same.
Yeah.
Well, it's more than that, but it's up there. You're
Hmm.
talking anywhere from 1,200 to like 1,500 one bedroom for a decent place.
Hmm.
You want something nicer, you're talking a lot more money. If you want, a little go low key, maybe 1,000 if you're lucky.
Yeah,
But
and
it still boils down when you're a country that deals with a lot of money and everything's monetary,
hmm
everything continues to go up. So you're going to be paying more for electricity, paying more for insurance, and it's constantly going up. It doesn't come down. So next
hmm
thing you know, you're spending $2,000 or $3,000 just to live monthly. It's
yeah,
absurd.
yeah,
Yeah, and you know too, like just to say what kind of what Jay was saying is like, you know, Jay said there's, you know, he said not much to do, but everything costs money. I would say that in New York, there's a million things to do, but everything costs money
hmm
because that's one of the biggest things about New York is that there's so many things bidding for your entertainment dollar that that's why it's so expensive is because there's, you know, there's competition, but it's so expensive and they can charge that because they're putting top of the line entertainment on. But like it costs you, but you have to kind of pick what you want to do. And you know, basically an average family or an average person, you get priced out of so much crap. You just can't do it. You can't afford it.
hmm
You know, you're just priced out. And not only that too, in New York, like Jay could tell you, in New York, a lot of these places they charge for parking too.
hmm
So it's not even getting to go someplace and get a ticket to go place or whatever, but you're paying top dollar, then they might get you for parking. You know, they're gonna get
Yeah,
you a lot.
parking's
Lot.
rent. That's rent. You're paying
Yeah,
50, $60 to park.
hmm
yeah. You know, it's crazy. And like, listen, you know, I believe in capitalism 100%. Is it perfect? No, nothing's perfect, right? You have people that take advantage of capitalism, but the thing is capitalism which makes America really good because it gives you the opportunity that anybody could do something, right? If you have a great idea, you get somebody to believe in your idea, you can make it work, right? If you didn't have capitalism, you couldn't do that. But the problem with capitalism too is that it's just astronomical what they're charging nowadays, and the cost of living has gone up, but people aren't getting a cost of living increase in their wages.
hmm
So while the cost of living is going through the roof, nobody's making more money.
Yeah, and it's
You
crazy
know?
too. It goes up, but it maybe 5 years after, but it's too late now.
But the thing is, the cost of living goes up every year, but
I
people
know,
aren't getting the cost of living wage increase every year.
I
Some
know.
people are not getting it for 3 to 5 years, or even longer. And when
hmm
it does go up, like you just said, it's nowhere near what it needs to be corrected to.
Yeah, it's
You
already
know,
too high.
and it makes it difficult. And you know, I want to take this conversation more than just the Philippines. Well, let's just talk about any place other than the Western world, right? Let's talk about people leaving America, Europe, and
hmm
they're going to Southeast Asia, or maybe they're going to places in Eastern Europe. You
hmm
know, people that are former Soviet Union countries that are much cheaper to live in, and they're willing to give up first world accommodations for not having those things because maybe they want a simpler life, right? And that's something I want to talk about is that like one of the things I've heard from a lot of people that have made the move to other countries in Southeast Asia is that when they move there, even though they've been there say a year or more, they realize that they just don't watch TV.
hmm
Something they did in America normally they don't do it all, and it partially is because they don't understand the language in a lot of these places they go to, but it's like they realized after months or a year that they're like, wait, I don't watch TV, and I'm out doing more things. Like I'm living my life. It's not consuming. And when since they're not watching TV, what are they not seeing? Commercials.
hmm
They're not seeing slanted, agenda-driven media, you know, social engineering them down a path, you know, so they're out doing things, and it dawns on them like, wait a second, like I'm living a better life. I'm happier.
Well,
Like,
see, I see it like this. When you're here, you can't afford a lot of these things like you spoke of. Over there, now, because of your exchange, you can afford to do these things that you couldn't do here in the US.
right, and then on top of it, they're a little cheaper. So you can afford to do it because they're cheaper on top of it. Plus, like you said, the exchange rate, you know, and especially like in New York, like I'll give you a prime example. Like in New York, you have the Yankees, right? The Yankees are considered the it's called they call that franchise, that team. It's the most expensive sports franchise in the world, right? If they were to sell the Yankees, it would break anything. It would be bigger than anything, bigger than any NFL team, whatever. The problem is you know, they pay these players a lot of money in baseball and basketball and all these different sports. But they gotta raise the ticket prices, right? So look at the NBA. Look at these money these guys are making now, right? Bum players are making $80 million, $25 million a year, right? It's insane. But who's paying for that? The fans, right? The ticket prices got to go up. The parking's going to go up. The concessions are going to go up, especially if the team owns the stadium or the arena. And one of the conversation is that, when they build these new parks or these new stadiums, they put a lot of fan interaction into them, because it's not going to be enough to get a person into an arena to watch a game for that ticket price. You got to give them other stuff. You got to give them something to do so they bring the kids. You know what I mean? Because a family of four can't afford to go to a game, no matter what sport it is. Because then by the time you get the tickets, the parking, you get concession stand stuff, you're broke. You just can't afford to do it. And that's one of the problems, especially in a big city like New York, is that they price people out of going to these things. And like you guys say, like especially Jay saying, Jay was telling us, I think before we went on air, is that he goes to a lot of events because it's cheap or it's free.
Oh yeah,
Like
just
Philippines.
most events I go to, they're 100 pesos, 200 pesos. You find some that's like $20, but then you're still getting, that'd be like a VidCon or one of the big ones, which is definitely worth it. You know what I mean?
But you get something out of it,
Getting some
right?
out of it, exactly.
Yeah, you get free stuff, maybe you get
Hmm.
food or whatever. Like you went to that, you didn't post it on your channel, but you went to a food thing, like a food. What was it? A food tasting.
Yeah, I actually lost the footage, but yeah.
You went to that, right? So you probably had to pay to get in there, but there was like all these free samples you could try of stuff. Like, if you can go there and spend the time, you can eat a lot of food. Get your money back by eating it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let me throw this in. This I follow a couple of YouTube channels as well, and one of the other YouTube channels, a guy went through going to the doctor, getting a checkup through the doctor, and getting his prescription.
Hmm.
All right, the doctor cost him the equivalent of $5 US, and for his three prescriptions, it only cost him like another $17.
Right.
Which in the US, he already did the math. He said it cost me $3,000 for the same exact thing in the US. Insurance paid a portion. He ended up paying $1,300 out of his pocket. That's absurd.
Yeah.
Well, in America is when it comes to prescription prices, America is the number one, highest in the world. There's a couple of European countries that are right there with us, but that's because they're all using the same pharmaceutical companies. So everybody's getting ripped off. People in America are paying, like you just said, $1,300. There's people in America that have monthly prescriptions that are well over that.
Hmm.
Pills.
How can you survive?
You can't. You go
Yeah,
you go in debt.
because
You
then
go in debt
you're paying all that money for the pills. Those
to
pills.
die. You're
Yeah,
paying all
kill
that
you.
money to die. They're
Yeah,
gonna
pretty
kill you
much.
anyway.
Hmm.
Because pills are not. They're not there to. Medication is not there to cure you. These expensive pills. It's just to keep you alive longer, so you can keep paying them money.
My wife sees like this when she moved here, and it's a big change for any of you guys that want to bring your wife here to the U.S. It's going to be a big transition first because they're learning a whole new lifestyle, a whole new culture. And her thing is this: her life here, but I live a better life in the Philippines. See, it's a lifestyle compared to living life is different.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I think I usually don't like to bring up other YouTubers' names on his channel, but I'm gonna bring up a Thailand Rob, 20 seconds in Thailand, Thailand Rob. He made a video maybe a month or so ago about basically it took him. He's been in Thailand for like 2 years. It took him like a year, he said, to realize like why he loves living in Thailand. Said it took him a year, and he did this video and he explained how when he first moved to Thailand, his thought process was still like he was living in the US, right? And like he would still worry about certain things that he used to worry about when he lived in the US. And then one day it just clicked on him like, I don't need to worry about those things any longer. Like life is different here, and like he said, like the pace of life is different. And you just, you know, it's just different. And you realize it's a good different. But he also said there's a lot of things about America that are better, hands down are better. He said, but it's what you want and what kind of lifestyle you want to live, what's important to you. And he said, like, hey, I'll go back to America at some point. I'll go back and visit. He was saying all this stuff, but he's like, but, you know, where you are in your life, you have to determine where you want to be physically as well. And it makes a lot of sense because, you look at America and there's people just going through the motions, right? People are just going through the motions. And they have this preconceived notion of how life is supposed to be, and everybody wants to play keeping up with the Joneses. And I got to buy this. Hey, look at that commercial. Oh, we got to go buy that when we go to the store. And it's like we're just inundated with consumerism. Everything is about buy this, buy that,
and then usually your wife drags you into it. That's why, guys. I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's true. Usually, your wife drags you into that consumerism, and even though the man may not want it. But no offense against the woman in the U.S., it's just they're full with consumerism. Okay, Chris. Sorry.
I think everybody is because men too, because like we like cars, we like sporting stuff, we like going this and that, and it's just the same thing. Like there, because of capitalism, because everybody can make money if they have a great idea, is that there's more things being put in front of you to buy. Where 10, 20, 30 years ago, that wasn't the case. You didn't have so many things being shoved in front of you like today. Like, somebody let's look at Apple for a minute, right? They come out with a new iPhone, it seems like every 8 to 12 months, right? Do you really need the newest one? Do you really need it? But no, everybody's lined up outside buying it, right?
And the cost is going up.
The cost goes up. And it's like, it's just, we're so programmed. We're so programmed for this lifestyle. Now, don't get me wrong. In Asia, people are getting the iPhones. Everybody's got it. But it's just a little bit different though. Like people are willing to live a life with less over there or in other parts of the world. And it just seems to be more of a peaceful life, but they do without things. So I guess
they're happier with less because they're not used to having more.
Right.
It's a difference. Yeah, exactly. See, in America, these people consider themselves poor. I'm poor. I don't have any money. I don't have this. You have a roof over your head. You have food on your table, and government's giving you assistance, and you got medical.
And you
country.
and you're wearing Air Jordans, and they're real.
Yeah, it's crazy. And you learn that, and I'm sure Homer knows that with his wife. My wife actually made me like that. Don't get me wrong. I'm cheap, but even more like I can actually get by a week with only 3,000 pesos. Like I can get food sometimes, and if I don't want to go nowhere, I don't have to go nowhere because I may want to save that week. And then the weekend I may go out 3 times that weekend. But what you were saying?
But that's a man thing. Like I always think of that. Like we always look at it. We can do with less. You know what I mean? Like if it was just us, if you were by yourself, you would get by with like very little. But
my wife trying to slow me down. I'm a little different. She has to pull my reins back and be like, that's too much. No, we're not spending that because I like certain things and I will only do certain things. Right. So what she does is she kind of balances me out. Like, look, we don't need that much. Let's look at this or let's do this.
Yeah. I mean, I think when you have two people in a situation that you're going to have that back and forth, like, oh, we don't need that, or, hey, we can afford this. Let's get this. Let's splurge a little. But as a guy, when you're by yourself in any kind of situation, let's just say you're living by yourself, right? Or something, you could do with a lot less. You could, because you don't feel compelled, like you got to worry about her. You know what I mean? If you don't like, you would feel some type of way like, hey, let's skimp out and live like bums to save money for a month. Like you don't really want to do that with your wife, say kind of deal. You know what I mean? With your girl, you don't want to do that. But as a guy, like Jada said, he could get by on a lot less per week if he really wanted to. He could just, he could do without certain things, not go here, not go there. But not everybody's going to do that. You know what I mean? Some people are going to want to, splurge a little, enjoy a little, go here, go there. They want to buy nice things. Not worried about it, but the thing is too, like Jay just showed everybody. He went to that upscale bougie mall, Greenbelt, and he basically showed that, hey, listen, I'm making poverty videos showing you people live on the street. But if you want Prada and you want, $100,000 watches, they got a mall you can go buy it at.
Hmm.
It's there, and that's everywhere, dude. If you ever want to be tripped out, first of all, you know, as far as bad as poverty is in the Philippines that Jace had shown,
Oh, David's coming.
there's a lot of worse places in the world. Let's be honest. There's a lot worse situations in the world where people live in, right? And I can tell you, I've seen some crazy videos where I've seen war-torn areas, war-torn. I'm talking like people shooting at each other, sniper fire. Yet a block over, they got Gucci stores, Prada stores. People are driving crazy ass cars. But a block over, it's a war. You know what I mean? Like it's just insane. But listen, you could find that high end stuff anywhere. You want to live that lifestyle, you can get it. But like you might be living right next to a war zone.
But the funny
And you
part
can,
of it is all made in China. I buy the
oh,
same stuff here. I go there and get the same exact stuff. And my wife says, "Hey, bring it from the U.S. Bring the stuff back from the U.S. to the Philippines." I said, "It's still made in China. We just
Hmm.
cut the middleman out, buying it in the Philippines." But
yeah,
just because it's been on U.S. soil, it gets more clout when you take it back to the Philippines.
it's like Apple products. You know, everybody's paying $1 million for Apple products, but they're all made in China.
Hmm.
You say to yourself, Jesus, like I'm paying way over what this item is worth, but it's made with Chinese garbage. And I'm not saying all shit in China is made in garbage, but majority of the stuff is crap. But like homie, you said, cut out the middleman. It's funny too, like all the knockoffs, right? A lot of these high-end brand items in America, they're all made in China, right? Yet what happens in China a lot of times is, so they got these factories in China that are making these items for the companies, right? They have plans, they have schematics, you know what I mean? Like everything. Some people in China, since China is a communist country and all the business there are pretty much controlled in a certain way, they'll take all those schematics and they'll set up a bootleg factory. So they're shipping in identical crap into the U.S. It's identical.
And
It's
it's pretty
this.
much real.
It is real
Think
because they're
about it. Yeah.
using
Same
schematics.
stuff.
They basically just said, hey, who had this problem a couple of years ago? Beats by Dre, Monster
Hmm.
makes Beats by Dre, and then Apple bought them. That's the problem they were having a couple of years ago, and they had to do a big thing on their website, like, please make sure you're buying authentic. Don't buy off of these. Whatever. Because what happened was they were stealing the schematics in China because all their shit's made in China. And there was factories in China pumping out the exact same things, but they were bootleg for less. But it was the same product,
Hmm.
Same exact product.
same exact thing. They were just mad because whoever was in their factories was like, hey, we're going to give you guys, here, you guys build a factory over there, you make the same exact thing, whatever. And what are they going to do? China's a communist country. What are you going to do? Go over there and be like, yo, you can't do that.
Nah, you
No.
can't do that.
Yeah, they can do whatever the hell they want.
Hmm.
You're using their cheap labor, they can do whatever they want.
It's true. And yo, man, because I tell you, I got the Nike Uptowns, the Downtowns actually. I remember I got them in New York, right? You remember years ago they used to sell a fake Uptowns, right, Chris? In New
Oh
York,
yeah,
and on
fake
Twenty
everything.
Second Street. But those look like crap. The ones that I got for what, $6? Those look just like look like Uptowns. It felt like it. I mean, the material on it, and where was it made at? China.
Yeah.
Sure. But yeah, man, China, man, you can't stop them. I don't know why companies try. Just let them do it. But you will get the thing is, it's crazy because this is the thing that bugs me out. What Homer was touching on. You can get from China the bootleg ones, but still, if you want to get the regular Jordans, you're gonna pay more here, and we're real close to China. I don't get that. Why do they make people pay more? Because it's coming from the store, of course. You're paying all of that. You're paying the middleman, and they don't have to bring it all the way across the seas. They're bringing it right there in the same ocean. So would I want to buy that? No, but I don't buy Jordans anyway. I'm an old man now. I look at it like this. If I can get it for cheaper, I'm gonna get it for cheaper. Because other than that, I'm trying to be like Bill Gates. you know, and wear some old tennis shoes, the same tennis shoes for the same for the next 3 years. Or if I do buy a brand new pair, I'll keep those same ones. If I get a new pair, I'll get them made in China, fake ones. I don't care.
You can't tell the difference.
You can't.
Yeah, it's not, when you're younger, you want those things, but as you do get older, there's certain things that they just don't hold the same value to you any longer, materialistically wise. You grow
Hmm.
up. You grow up. It's just not as important.
Yeah, it's so true, man.
It's true, and that's probably one of the biggest problems with the Western society, especially in America, is that like we're so socially engineered to buy certain things that we buy things that we can't afford, you know, and
Hmm.
and it is to control us. It is to put us in debt. And one of the problems that I've always had with this commercialized era of rap music is that you're pushing expensive items to a community of people who may not be able to afford it. So they go out there and they do things that jeopardize their freedom to acquire such items that really don't hold any value. They're made by some Chinese guy, slave labor, halfway around the
Hmm.
world, and you're killing people for them.
Let me
Like,
let me throw this at you. You know Segway, right?
yeah, segue. Yep, yep.
Check out what Segway. Segway was having their items made in China. All right. Then all of a sudden, they start getting bootleg Segways that were being sold all over the place. Segway start going after the companies in China. China just decided to go ahead and just buy Segway. So
Oh
I
wow.
made enough money off of bootlegs, so now I can go ahead and buy Segway
Smart move.
because you
But
can't do nothing in international patents. What are you going to do? You can't sue China.
Hmm.
yeah, you can't. You just can't do it. And well, what's funny is all these companies, they know that at the end of the day, there's nothing they can do to China, but they only care about their bottom line, that they're willing to use their slave labor over there, and whatever happens, happens. You know what I mean? Like they're willing to cut every corner instead of finding a reputable manufacturer in a different country or even in America, pay extra, pay more, but have the satisfaction that you have, the courts behind you if something did happen. No, no, no. They
Correct.
rather they rather pay people making 50 cents a day, you know, they rather pay for that to have it made over there. They know it's a sweatshop. They know it's slave labor. They know people commit suicide over there. They know people have no lives, but they don't care.
Hmm.
And it's funny because we buy Apple products and we're all supposed to go, oh my God, Apple's going to be the first $1 trillion company. Oh man, they're an amazing company. They're amazing. They use slave labor
Hmm.
to this day. And people spending $3,000 on a laptop
Hmm.
when, you know, and they're buying these phones that basically probably cost less than $100 to make, but they're paying $750 for them.
Yeah, that's
And
crazy,
and
man.
and yet the same people that use these phones are anti-capitalist, and they're like, oh, human rights, human rights. Oh, but you got your iPhone. You want to
Hmm.
bitch and complain and protest capitalism and protest and say, oh, we're against this country for human rights. Yeah, but you're taking selfies with an iPhone 7, like, hey, I'm going to protest iPhone 7.
But it's
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 like,
not it's not directly in your face. You don't have to see it every day.
yeah, they don't understand. They're
Hmm.
out, people don't really get it. They just don't understand. They don't really put two and two together. That's the problem.
Yeah. And yeah, guys, we got I just wanted to step into the next part. A lot of guys want to know about this. They want to know about relationships here and women here. And who better to tell us than Maria Coloma, who is a woman from the Philippines. All right.
Hi.
Hey Maria.
Hi. Hi,
All right.
everyone. Good morning.
Uh,
Yes, yes. So
Magandang umaga.
Magandang hapon.
yes, so all you guys, this is especially for all you guys out there. Maybe you have question about women, in the Philippines and relationships, things of that nature. You know, uh, you can ask Maria. You can ask me. We'll definitely talk about that. Yeah, what's going on? So I just want to shout out everybody that's in the room too. We got Nathaniel, Steven, Fueler, Trinitro, Traveling Man, Peace City. Um, plenty of other people I've seen in here commenting. Zaire, I guess I see people saying that, Zaire in a room. Zaire Phoenix. Thank all you guys for joining us. And there's a lot of guys, and I know Chris is gonna have some questions for this. There's a lot of guys who I wanted to ask you, Maria. Do you find, I'm not just talking about yourself, do you find Filipino women yourself to be trustworthy, as far as you knowing how Filipino women are? I know that sounds like a dumb question, but it's not. I just want to see how you answer it. Hello?
Yes, we're here.
Oh, did you hear me? Hello?
Hi. Who's
You didn't hear my question. What I was saying is, do you, Maria, do you find Filipino women to be trustworthy? Coming from a woman's standpoint, because, men, sometimes women, act how they're going to act towards a man. I know I trust my wife. I know Homer trusts his wife, but do you find a Filipino woman to be more trustworthy, or what is it? Because a lot of guys used to hearing about scams all the time.
mhm. When you say more earlier, you said you're comparing it to another.
Oh no, I'm comparing it to, say for instance, like a lot of guys, they talk with women online, right?
Yes.
And there's a lot of scams out there. But I'm just talking
Mhm.
about for you as a Filipino woman, from how you see Filipino women in your eyes, not in a relationship. Do you find Filipino women to be trustworthy for the most part?
Well, yes, in general, I think Filipinas are. No doubt, I can only speak for people who are around me,
Yes.
uh, who people I know. And you stumble some people, it doesn't matter how gender, what's the gender. You
Hmm.
find some people, you can feel skeptic about things. You can,
Hmm.
you can doubt their sincerity. But in as far as gender of Filipinas, I mean, the morality and how they view the family and their spouse, I think Filipinas, most of them are trustworthy.
Okay.
There's a certain culture and the way they were brought up by their parents, most especially if they see parents staying together for the
Hmm.
longest until they die. These
Hmm.
are emulated through the way we were taught, the way we were uh, brought up
Raised. Hmm.
and raised, and the way we were given lectures by our parents. We were brought to churches. We have catechism in schools, even if it's a public school, even if it's a
Hmm.
non-sectarian school. We were brought up on how to pray, how to respect elders, how to respect parents, how to give respect to your older siblings, most especially, how to take care of your younger siblings, how to treat your cousins like your own brothers and sisters.
Hmm.
And we have family reunions. I think it boils down to how the culture is. You They say that when you're in the Philippines and you are a born Filipino, you can never be alone because you are family. You're surrounded with family and friends as support. So
That's very true.
in return, you give this, you reciprocate the same thoughts, you reciprocate the same feelings and standards to the people who are around you at your workplace, even at your house. You treat your household like your own family.
Hmm.
You, of course, especially with men. But unfortunately, there are also some women who are not as lucky as the rest. They let's say they are corrupted by their own experiences, they are corrupted by their own surroundings, they were not brought up well, they are hitting it through hard times, so they resort to these things. But there are also people who are just having that in their veins to fool people as well, and it's not only in the Filipinos, but in general, I would say women are trustworthy here, most especially if they are brought up in the Philippines in the most traditional Filipino way.
Hmm.
Because it's a
I
country.
feel the same way too, Joji. That's what I wanted to hear from you. I know Homer feels the same way.
Mhm.
A lot of guys, they have it in their heads. you know, because a lot of guys, they get, not a lot, but you know,
Mhm.
sometimes guys get scammed online, and
Mhm.
they just automatically think, oh, that's how Filipino women are. And I've seen guys
Mhm.
that have spoken to me, you know, sent me comments on videos, you know, like, oh, well, you know, I got done wrong by this woman, and it's like,
You know how I was able to find that out, that there are scammers or Filipinas are being like tagged as one, because when I would do online dating, I
hmm
would see there no Filipinos, no coming from Filipinos. They are all scammers, and of course, as a Filipina, I'm kind of not insulted but more hurt because we are generalized in some manners in some occasions when foreigners are experiencing that. And I don't think that's fair too. I mean, there was a time that I even had to send a private message to this person who seemed to be very annoyed and very, he has generalized our gender and our race already. And I thought I would give him, I would ask him what happened to him. And he the first thing he asked is, "Are you from the Philippines?" Yes, I am. That's why I'm sending a message. No talk, no talk. I don't want. You're scammers. I mean, okay then. But coming from an objective point of view, there are still bad eggs. You know, but I cannot give excuses for how come they turned out to be or what happened to them. You
hmm
know,
I can give you a couple.
yeah,
A lot of foreigners don't understand that a lot of foreigners come to the Philippines. They date these pretty women, they make them pregnant, and then they leave them. And now they left this mother here with a child that they can barely take care of. So now this child is getting abandoned because the mother leaves. So a lot of foreigners have to understand that they're
yeah,
causing this themselves.
hmm
yeah. And they were we are we as in I'm speaking for the Filipinos. We were also taken advantage of because there are occasions that we were taken advantage of too. Like it's not a secret already of when we were having this the U.S. bases in the Philippines, and they were in Subic and in Clark. There were areas there when there are clubs and there are nightclubs and there are uh, bar girls hanging out with the officers or the uniformed men in their R&R period. So they get relationships, they get pregnant, and that's what he said. There are experiences too. So they turn out to be like haters, or I don't know. But well, every time I would speak of, because I would do social integrations when I was younger. I would see single moms with American kids. They have forgiven the fathers, or they would just take care of their kids. They would they love their children, but sometimes some of them do not learn lessons. They try to have another relationship with another foreigner, and they end up with the same story. But some are really lucky to have like a third or a fourth husband with a foreigner, and they get up ending married, and this foreigner embraces his kids like his own. So these are human stories. These are realities that's happening in the country and everywhere in the world, I guess. But what I can say about Filipino women, we are very strong. We're very resilient to anything that comes on our way. Uh, I think every mother is it's second nature to every mother that you can lose everything except losing your kid, because you stand by them. You try to give them the best things you can in your ability as a woman or as a person. Sometimes you're forgetting about yourself already. It's I think it's second nature to every Filipino woman. We're very caring mothers. We're very
hmm
caring wives and girlfriends, and yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much I'm all for Filipino
it's,
women.
and it's true. Let me tell you, I actually spoke with my ex, and me and my ex are cool. And I told her the difference. You know, we had hard times, but for the most part, she was okay. And I told her, I said, the difference, and why a lot of guys, I explained to her, a lot of guys are going to the Philippines, and not just the Philippines. There's other countries out there too. I said it's not that all women are bad in the U.S. It's not that guys are just bashing women in the U.S. It's just the numbers game works out in your favor. You understand what I'm saying? Meaning, when you come to a country like this or another country that's similar, and the structure of society is different, and that's why a lot of guys want to come here, where the women are so much not washed down with television. Your boy Chris touched on it earlier. There's not so many reality shows, housewife shows that are shown to these 5-year-old little girls who are watching it with their mothers, and there's no father in the picture already. That does something to a generation of people. And it happens. Don't get me wrong. I've seen situations like that here too, but it's not as much. There are a lot of, we talk about it all the time on this podcast. There's situations out in the Philippines where people are just like passing off their children.
Mm.
But that's a little different situation. They're completely down and out. I would never understand that. But there's bad things everywhere. But as far as relationships, you're gonna have better luck as far as the percentages are gonna work out more in your favor in
Mm.
countries like this.
And it's like this also, and this is my experience.
Hmm.
You're dealing with a different environment. You're dealing with a woman that's raised with family all around her. It's a different atmosphere. You treat a man has to feel like a man. I'm sorry.
Hmm.
You're not going to want to be talked down to. You want to be treated like a man. You want to be respected like a man. And when they're raised with the father in the house and the mother in the house, they see the roles of what the woman should do, how the man is supposed to do certain things. And it's a different bonding environment. So you're raised different. You feel different. Men, you have to come there to experience it. You can't just sit online and talk to somebody online and think that's how it is. You can't.
Yeah.
Get up
And
off your tail, come out there, meet the culture, be around them, and then you will see exactly what we're talking about.
exactly, exactly. And I
Hmm.
also have talked to, of course, my boyfriend, and he's saying that no offense meant to the women back in the US, but even if he finds a Filipina who has been born and raised in the US, she becomes different
Yeah.
because it's not in her culture to be around the family. The parents are very busy making a living.
Hmm.
They get bullied in school, so that turns a person you know another aspect of her is a challenge, so that
Hmm.
becomes also a challenge for her when she grows up and have a relationship. But modesty aside, we because we grow up with a family and we look up our mothers and how they how she greets my father when she comes home from the office. She would ask how he is. He would sit on his favorite chair, switch on the TV, and my mom would always be ready to give him a glass of water or an ice cold beer right there on his table while he watches his sports. And even if my mom doesn't watch basketball or boxing, she would sit beside my dad, and even me, we would be sitting there to have that moment with my father.
And she probably started enjoying basketball too.
Exactly.
But I have a
Exactly.
question for you. Did your mother ever, as soon as your dad come home, did your mother ever come to him and say, hey, you need to take your son outside and take him to play basketball. You need to pay these bills. You need to make sure this is done. You need to make sure is that how your mother has ever treated your husband when he came in the house?
Fairness to my
Jumped on him as
father,
soon as
he's
he
not.
got home?
No,
No.
never. My father would take some time with my two brothers because we are threes in the family. I'm the youngest and the only girl. So even with me, my dad would go out of his way to bring me to Cartimart to buy me some stuff. And my brothers, my father would take turns in bringing them to a baseball game or to see a national playoff for in basketball. So he takes his time. He brings his kids out. But my father was really trying to get everything put together because he works at this. He has two jobs. So half of Saturday he still has to work, but Sunday is reserved for the family to bring them to church, to bring them to a nice restaurant, or even just to the park. Even if my father didn't have much money back then, uh, he would bring us to the national park and buy us some popcorn. But boils down to one thing. Boils down to one thing. My mother never nagged my father. I never heard my mom speak ill of my father behind him or in front of him. Never. Because my father would always say, when your father gets home, you make sure, or if you get married, you make sure that his meals are hot, his rice is fresh, and you sit beside him no matter what, even if you have taken your dinner already. So,
And how old are you,
me,
if
I'm
you don't mind me
54 now.
asking?
No, I
Ask a
don't
woman
mind.
her age. You know, ask a woman. No, I'm joking.
No, but
I'm 50.
see, our listeners need to hear this
No, no, no,
because
no.
they hear from somebody for the experience. That's how,
Yes,
and that's what I see when I come to the Philippines. Just exactly what she said, guys.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I
My
am
wife is the
54.
same way. My wife is the same way, and she's 35.
Hmm.
Ah,
So
yes, see,
that
because
same upbringing is the same upbringing that I have in my wife. Is exactly what she just explained.
Yeah, and you know, it's the beautiful thing I love about Filipinos. See, don't sleep, and Homer knows this, and Maria knows she's one. See, they're very nice, but they're little firecrackers too. See, they're not gonna just let you run over them, and that's the thing you gotta respect with
mm-hmm.
Filipino
Oh
women.
yeah, you don't
Yeah,
get mad.
they're strong. They're
But
strong.
it's a
You
way they
turn
do it though.
green.
It's a way
Exactly.
that they do it. It's
Yeah,
not like it's
it's
not
not
like an
disrespect.
attitude.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
very smart about how they do it. They
Hmm.
say something to you, and next thing you know, you're doing what she wanted you to do, but you don't even know you did it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like
Because
you know,
she's
it's funny because like at times, you know, even with Kay, it can be you're cooking. No, why are you cooking? Why are you doing? Why are you clean? And then sometimes it could be like, you know, she'll tell me about myself. What are you doing, Mel? So you're gonna get both, which is good. You need that, you
Yes,
know,
yes, yes.
someone to keep
Uh-huh.
you on your toes, but then someone that will always that will treat you like a man, you know.
Yeah,
but
yeah, that's
but let me
right.
show you a difference, Jay, from because your wife is still in the Philippines. She hasn't been to the U.S.
Hmm.
Okay, so my wife coming from the Philippines and coming to the U.S., she's intimidated by. Okay, so she works this new job. All right, so when it comes to dealing with her management and dealing with her peers, they walk on eggshells because of how it is in the Philippines. You know, you have to be careful because you don't want to get pissed off. You don't want nobody to because you can get fired quickly. But
Hmm.
here in the U.S., it's not the same way. So she's having a discrepancy with another co-employee who happens to be a Filipino as well. She doesn't want to say anything, and she comes home crying and upset. I says, "Well, explain to him that you don't like what he's doing. Explain to him why. We have to work together. We have to be here. So let's work on things." Well, I don't want to do that. I'm afraid to talk to anybody. You can talk to management here. You don't have to be afraid.
Yeah, yeah.
So she goes to the manager, explains to the manager, "Oh, you can talk to me anytime."
Hmm.
She talks to that guy that she has a problem with. It gets to a point to where she's upset and explains it. Everybody there wanted to say something to this guy, but never did.
Mm.
Never did. Once she opened her mouth up and said something to it, it squashed everything. Now everything's peaceful.
Mm-hmm. The
Yeah.
character also, and that one character can be built in time. You know, you bring one girl from the province and you bring her to Manila, and she would know how to survive. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Uh, she
Correct.
gets the culture imbibed at once. Sometimes it's just the language barrier that makes them insecure, but we think alike. We are feisty in a good way. We can fight for our man. We fight for our friends. There were a lot of reasons to do that because your family, you have the same sentiments. It's tremendous bonding. It's tremendous connection with one another. So yeah, you
And
try.
I got one other thing to say. When she got her first check, I said, "Hun, this is your first check in the U.S. Splurge, buy whatever you want to buy. Don't worry about nobody else." Okay. Next day, she says, "Hey, I'm buying all my coworkers Dunkin' Donuts."
Oh well.
So she's thinking about everybody else but herself.
True.
And you can't help but love that. How can you not love somebody that cares more about everybody else besides themselves?
Where in the world could you find someone like on the first day of her work, she would bring food for everyone? It's
Yeah, I
crazy,
love it. I love it.
crazy sweetness. But yeah, that's how we are. That's how we are. But we can
Yeah.
be pretty feisty. You step on me. mm, I mean, that's how we're trained by our father also. Like my father would tell me when I was younger, I don't care if you marry a man who is not rich, but if he starts laying a hand on you, I'll take you back and gonna smack him on his face. It's but if I'm not around, you can do it yourself, girl. I mean, it's how we're taught by our parents, not just by our moms. Moms are saying like you have to always be ladylike, but la 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 la. But my father would tell me, and I'm also the same thing with my girl. It's like I tell my girl, and she was younger, you do not start a fight in school. But if they start picking on you, I give you my blessings. Hit him on the face. I mean, it's how we were taught and how we were passed on. You never get to let anyone step on your, step on you.
Hmm.
Just start anything bad. But when bad things happen to you, when they were younger, we tell you tell your teacher first, or you tell your mom first. But hey, we cannot always be around 24 hours a day. You just have to fight there. You be strong, and later on in life you will fight your own battles, and I'm not going to be around. So as early at an age of 11 or 12, I've been teaching that to my daughter, and that's how she is right now. Sometimes I get afraid when she comes home late, and she'd tell me, Ma, I'm home. Like, it's yes, of course, I've trained you that way. Why am I afraid? So that's
So
how it is.
yeah, I
Yeah.
wanted to ask you about tempo. A lot of guys hear about that. You know what that is, of course. And you know how women can get caught up with it. Have you ever been through a situation of
Word
tempo?
temper,
Tempo,
Tampo.
tempo, tempo.
tempo.
Yeah,
Of course. Of course. It's in our DNA.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So just explain to the guys what that is. Describe
Tempo
it for
is
guys.
you get upset. And when you're upset, you crump like a meek lamb. You don't talk to your man, or you annoy him. That's how we have this tempo. It's very Filipina, Jay. I'm
Hmm.
It's
sure,
to sum it up in a regular standards, conflict resolution is the silent treatment, guys. They basically shut down on you. They shut down on you, and I mean shut down on you. Say nothing to you whatsoever. They ignore
dude.
you. They're there, but they're not there.
Yeah.
But the best part is when it's over, it's over. It's
Hmm.
no going back. It's no going back and complaining. Remember what you did 5 hours ago or 2 days ago? No, it's none of that. When
Yeah.
it's over, and the house runs smooth again.
Yes. Here's the thing. Even if we have the tampo, we will still serve you your food. We'll still make sure it's hot. We'll still make sure you have your cold ice water in front of you. But I
Yeah,
won't be
my
sitting with
wife does
you.
it with the mean mug. She does it with the super mean mug.
But I won't be sitting with you. You might get lucky if I sit with you, but I'm not gonna be serving food on your plate. I'm gonna scoop rice on your plate if I have tampo on you. But I may just be like doing a reverse psychology. I do everything, sweetness, yet I will be locking myself inside my door. You sleep on the sofa.
Yeah, yeah. Jay Wilkes was saying, but it can have nothing to do with you. Sometimes it could be
Mm,
jealousy over someone else, or just like flipping out for no reason, kind of thing. He was talking
yeah.
about that because
And
there is
you'll be
two sides to it.
lucky. You'll be feeling lucky if your girl will tell you outrightly what's wrong.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, because they usually don't. Yeah, you're right.
Hmm.
Yeah. Because
They-
3 days of not speaking to you in the normal way would be like hell for you guys. And still, we still get that nice treatment, but something is eating her up
right.
inside. And
Once you've sensed your
yeah,
wife, once you know your wife and can feel your wife and feel her, you know it's that time and leave her alone. Let her just go through her thing. Just leave her alone.
hmm but
Yeah,
yet, after a few nights or a few days, you would realize, oh, I need my man, I need my husband, I need to cuddle. Then he'll go to you. She'll go to you.
yeah. And what's her name? Zaire Phoenix said it, and I'm the same way. I'll just cook for myself that day. I cook every day anyway, so. But yeah, we have another person. Don C said he's seen the opposite, where the Filipina has a high-paying job and the husband is treated with less respect because she feels empowered. I can see that happening anywhere though, in any society.
Anywhere,
Yeah, you know
anywhere. Yeah.
that happens, and that's why they push obsessive women rights in the U.S.
Mm.
to make men feel, like
To a
less of men.
certain fault, Jay. To a certain
Mhm.
fault.
Huh?
I To a certain fault, they could push
Yeah.
it over to the limits. Like, there's no more partnership with, because I can only speak on how my boyfriend tells it to me. You know,
Hmm.
you give this empowerment so much that me women would always fight for equality in all aspects, even in relationships, even if But I'm not in the position to discuss it because I only have this information from my boyfriend who is has been married once, and but yeah, I think that's different also with in the case of the Filipino.
Hmm.
you
But
know I just learned yesterday that in a survey that my friend is doing, she's in that category of survey. More Filipino men now are staying as housebands. They take care of their kids and they love it. They do work, sales work, online jobs, and they just want to stay home. And they, of course, they have their maids, they have their yayas at home to give an extra hand to take care of the kids. But a lot of professional men who have become, I've known of one cousin who was an, you know, married to a lawyer, a very powerful lawyer, and she's earning so much. While the husband is an ex vice president of a big banking company. So after a few years, he started doing his business, and now he's a full-time employee of a tool shop, which he loves doing, and he doesn't mind that the woman is earning more because he's very secure of his relationship. He's very secure about himself, and the woman doesn't give him any reason to feel insecure and feel degraded because the woman is a well-bred Filipina.
one thing you have to be careful with that. One thing I'll tell you guys, and guys know this. It's not. See, of course, you want your woman to feel empowered, but how can I say it? He should always have something. How can I say it? Something to keep her guessing. You understand what I'm saying? Because what happens is it doesn't happen right away, but when someone has that over you, one of those days you get in an argument and it comes out. I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but a guy always has to stay on his toes and always keep pushing for more, even while he's at home. Not just working for a company, maybe getting his own business started, because you just never know. One day something could happen. You find out. I'm just playing devil's advocate, but it's true. You find out she's
No,
been
I,
sleeping with the guy at work the whole time. You know what I mean, Homer?
I see it like this, and this is what I did with my wife also. Each person in the household has to have a secondary life. You
Hmm.
have to have something else to do. You can't just have it being always house. You have to have your own identity outside of the household as well. That way you can keep everything as one. If you're just all about house, you don't know nothing else, it's frustrating, especially if the wife comes home or the man comes home. I'm doing all this, I'm doing all this, I'm doing all that. And you have no friends, you have nobody else you can turn to. You have to have your own identity outside the household that keeps the house running smoothly.
Hmm.
I agree. I
Yeah,
agree.
your boy Chris, you there?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Oh, okay, okay. I
It's
think
not
he's
like you to
catching
be
up
so
on that.
quiet, Chris. I'm kind of worried.
So,
This
your
is like
boy.
the 10th podcast we're talking about this.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, let's.
Oh,
So then let's go. Let's continue it on.
I'm all about growth, man. I'm all about growth. I'm about moving things forward.
So
We
say
did like
something, man.
we did like 10 podcasts about this. Everybody can go back and watch the old podcast, and we can run this over again. We got to move forward, people. Come
Yeah,
on,
yeah,
man. We
yeah. This was a
can't keep
segment.
rehashing this, man. Keep rehashing. No,
This,
but I do.
this.
Listen. I do agree with Homer. Um, if you want to have a healthy relationship, there needs to be two things. You need to have a life that's your relationship and a life of your own. You don't need to be secret, but you need to have your own thing because, and that's for both people. That's for both people need to have that, because you can't have somebody sitting there who's always waiting for you, so you can't live your life too, because then you feel stuck. You feel like you have to give them all your time. So that's one of the things that's interesting about the Western culture, is that I don't want to give women in the Western culture a bad rap. Let's not do that.
Yeah, yeah,
Let's
yeah.
not shit on them, because let me tell you something. You find yourself a good independent woman who does her own thing, who's creative, who's got her own business. That's attractive, man.
Mm-hmm.
You want somebody like, she ain't no dumb, you know what? She out there doing her business.
Yeah.
You can learn a little something. But the same token, you don't want to be run like a dog either. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? You don't want to be, because I've known people that have thrown away relationships because, like somebody said in the chat, that a woman might be too empowered where the man feels like he's lesser. And
Mm-hmm.
I actually
Exactly.
know somebody who was
I've
in
been
that.
there.
Yeah, I know somebody who was in that situation where it was a crazy story. Like, I'll tell it real quick. There was this guy and a girl, and she was college educated. She was actually pre-med, then switched up, went to business. She went to Columbia University. She did really well for herself. She met a guy. He didn't go to college. He was a laborer. He worked with his hands. He did his thing, whatever. They wound up moving in together. They got an apartment. So she's making the majority of the money, right? So they're dating for like a year or two, whatever. But she always felt like she had the sense that he felt like he was lesser in the relationship, like he wasn't a man. Like, because she was making all the money, and when they would go places, they would always be with her friends, not his. You know, she had a different lifestyle. You know what I mean? And so she said to him, "Hey, listen, you have all these dreams and aspirations that you didn't go to because you didn't go to college. Why don't you go to college? I'll pay all the bills. I'll help you. You go to college. You focus on what you want to do. I'll take care of this." So he did, right? He did that for like 2 years. Then he starts working a job. You know what happened to that job? You got a girl that we worked with pregnant.
Mm.
Oh
So
no.
get
Because he
this.
felt empowered.
So get this. She
Mm.
comes home one day. She didn't know about this. She comes home one day and he's gone.
Mm, mm, mm.
She's just gone. So he packed his shit and he left. Now he didn't take anything from the apartment. He just took his clothes, what was his, because everything was pretty much hers. After years, everything's pretty much hers. And he left her a note and said, "I'm sorry." She's just like, "What the hell is this shit?"
She stripped his
So
manhood.
so what happened was he told her later, when she finally tracked him down, like what happened. He cooked up this whole story about how, like, he never felt like a man in a relationship. Um, even though he was grateful that she let him go back to school, she paid for everything. That was really great of her, blah blah. But it wasn't enough. The damage was done. The whole time he was with her, he felt like he was nothing. He felt like he was nothing, because they didn't hang out with his friends. It was always her friends, but he felt out of place arguing with her because, like, she was paying for everything. And he said, you deserve better, and it's not a situation I'm comfortable in. So 9 months later, she finds out, oh no, he had a kid, and he walked out on that chick too.
Oh wow.
Wow.
But meanwhile, get this, for 9 months, she felt like shit, because she was like, "Oh my God, I destroyed this guy. I thought I was helping him, but I destroyed this guy." No, but all along, it wasn't that. He did feel like that, but it led him to do something else. But then he used that as an excuse. So it was just a big mess. You know what I mean? But that's the problem with people. Like, you need to have your own life, like Homer said. You need to have a life outside that home that's not the relationship. Everybody needs to have that. You know what I mean? You need the guy and the girl both need to have that. You have your life together, then you have your own lives. And like I said, they don't need to be secret. They just need to. You need to have that those friends. You need to have those hobbies. It's important.
You need to have your own identity, if
Yeah,
that's
you
what you.
definitely need to. And you also do. You need to be feel comfortable. Like, if you're with somebody who you feel lesser than, then it's not the right situation.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And it has nothing to do with money. Some people are just, listen, there are guys who are they're alpha males, but they're even alpha males with their woman. Like they treat their woman like she's a second place citizen,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like she's below them, like she's below him, and you can't do that either. You
Mm-mm.
know, there's got to be there's a fine line. I think in America, what happened was we went a little too far. We went a little too far with telling women that they don't need men. You know, that became a big thing. You know, I don't think if a lot of people remember. Homer, you probably remember. Jay, you might remember. Like, remember that show Murphy Brown,
Mm-hmm.
where uh, she became like a single mother on TV, and it was the first time ever. Like, and she became a single mother in real life, and it was a
Mhm.
big to do because here was a TV star who was a single mother. And that you remember
Yeah.
on TV, Homer, you remember like back
Oh yeah.
years ago, there were certain things that were never shown on TV because it would affect society as a
Mm-hmm.
whole.
Now everything's
Nowadays,
accepted. Yeah.
right, everything's accepted, and I think we lost family. Family doesn't exist any longer in America. We killed the family.
That's
They
sad.
always talk about the family disappeared in the black community. No, it disappeared in
Every
America.
community. Yep.
It disappeared in America. You know where you find family a little bit more in the Latino community.
Mm-hmm.
And
In
in the
America too. Yeah.
yeah, and in
Right. Right.
America,
Right.
you still find that in America, and also the Asian community in
Asian,
America. Even though it's
Indian,
much smaller,
And the Jewish.
yeah.
Jewish. It's
But
like little small groups,
but
but
but the but in the black community and the white communities for the most part, the family's gone. Even
yeah.
if today, if the mother and father are there, they're really not there.
Mm-hmm.
Like we said, you need to have your own identity. Well, they have their own identity. They're just all living under the same house.
Yeah.
But
Too
but
much. They
even
have too
like
much of their
when
own
we
identity.
even like when she talked about how they treat their elderly. Here, family moves away. You may not even see your mother. Your mother's living by herself someplace.
Mm-hmm.
There, they rally around their parents.
Mm.
They're always taking care of their
No.
parents. If they take care of their parents, they bring them in the house in the Philippines, but not in the U.S.
You just reminded me, Homer. I'm gonna let you get it out, man, but I gotta talk about this. I remember, those emergency buttons, right? I remember I worked for a company in Long Island, and they provided people with those, 911 help me, I can't get up buttons,
Yeah, yeah.
So I used to speak to old people all the time who were at
Mm,
home alone, and I always had to give each one 10 minutes because they
yeah,
always wanted to talk. They would buy anything from me, and sometimes I would have to say no, no, I'm not going to sell you that. They wanted to talk about products, you know.
just
They
to talk to somebody.
just to talk to somebody, and I would always have to tell them like, no, no. But you would have to sell them, but I wouldn't. I'll make sure I didn't rip them off. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna give you this package for 100. I go, oh, well, no. If you want another button, I'll give you another button. But they wanted to talk, and then after that, I would just talk to them for another 5 minutes. And hey, I gotta go. Then the next call, same thing all day long. I'm home alone, and they tell you their secrets. My kids left me, and so the home health aide comes by, but then I don't see them for the weekend, and I don't see my kids for 3 years. I was like, 3 years. Like, it's right, man. The family, man. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, it happens all the time. And a lot of times, like Chris said, most of the time it's some it's an old white lady.
Oh,
Usually, and that's one thing I noticed with older black women. They usually end up around their family eventually. But it happens a lot, believe it or not, to older white people. They end up alone because their kids, they have all of these, they get all these big degrees, right, Chris? And then they have their own family and they're gone. You know,
You know what? You know what too is it's because in America we put too much emphasis on money.
money, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Everybody's got to work. Everybody's got to work. Um, my generation um, was really the first generation I think where like both parents started working. Before my generation, both parents really didn't work. And then like, when I was coming up, everybody's parents worked, like both parents worked.
Mhm.
Like you go to somebody's house after school or whatever to hang out, and there was never a parent around. Like there was you know what I mean? Like it just didn't exist. But like that was the norm. And everybody grew up with that. There's what was it called again? Latchkey kids? Yeah, latchkey kids. And you know, basically we were taught like that's the generation, and then you just carry that over, You know, unless you, it's just like being abused, an abused relationship. If you don't break the cycle at some point, it's going to continue. Because if you're abused, you're going to abuse people. You know what I mean? And it's going to keep going down and down and down and down. It's the same thing with anything. It's social engineering in a way. So like we conditioned the family not to be a family any longer. So people don't give a crap. People don't have Sunday dinners. They don't, you know. And another thing too, I'll take it further. I know people don't really want to talk about religion, but in America, we destroyed the idea of religion. You know, in America, you have religious freedom, right? Yeah, but we turned it into, you know, being having faith is bad. You know,
Yeah.
it's clowned on TV. You're a clown now, and if you have religion, you know,
Hmm.
you turn on, uh, you know, you turn on any liberal-based news media, and you know, I'm a left-leaning libertarian, right? And I think most people who are minorities would be the same thing, right? You'd be a left-leaning libertarian, um, but you know, which means you're not a Republican. You believe in liberal values. You might not be progressive, but whatever. But the thing is, if you turn on any news media that would fit your views, they tell you religion's bad. Basically, they clown you. They laugh at you like, "Oh my God, how can you believe in God? Like that's ridiculous. Look, they're Bible thumpers, or you know." And you sit there and you're like, "Wait a second. This country was kind of partially founded on religious freedom. You know, it's a Christian country, but yet you're clowning people on national TV for being religious. Like it's bad."
Well, a
And
lot of religious leaders within themselves ruin it. Just have you have these
right, it's
Catholic
true.
priests with the kids and this and that. Of
No,
course, that's going to mess with your faith.
I totally get that, but faith is beyond that. Faith is beyond the human element. So you have these humans who sit at the hierarchy of a religion, regardless of what they do, no matter if they rape boys or whatever they do, you still can believe in God. You could still
Hmm.
believe in that because they don't. Listen. Every religion has its flaws, right? And every religion has its flaws, and there's things that like you could look at and say, hey, well, that doesn't really apply to today, or you know, I don't like this certain aspect of it, but no matter what these people do who supposedly are the pillars of the religion and whatever, you still can believe in God. You know, you could still hold values true just because they're human. Humans are infallible. Humans make mistakes. Humans do bad things. Humans are evil, you
Yeah,
know?
even in the Bible says that
Right. So
everybody
so
was making mistakes. Yeah,
so so and the thing is
except for
like
God.
with the Catholic Church, you know, listen, every religion makes it has its horrible things that they do, but you know, in the Catholic Church, yes, when all that officially came out, either it was going on for 20, 30 years, and it finally came out, and people were getting arrested and tried and stuff like that, and people were coming forward, it turned a lot of people off in the Catholic religion. You know, it turned a lot of people to sort of questioning, like, wait a second, like, you know, something's not right here, and I don't
But
feel comfortable
the
with
faith
this.
is supposed to be in Him, not in the man.
Yeah.
See,
Right.
that boils it
It's
up.
so the thing is, like, you know, you talk to people of my generation, say, like, I was raised Catholic, so like I would go to like when I was engaged, me and my fiance, we had to go to pre-Caner and stuff like that, and you go there, and it was interesting because you have all these groups of people, and we're all pretty much the same age at the time, you know, late 20s, early 30s, and everybody there was Catholic, but almost every single one of us was not practicing on a weekly basis
Mm,
because we all had issues with the Catholic Church
mm,
because it didn't align with what was basically in our life. There's a lot of things that needed to be updated or reformed. And that's with a lot of religions, you know, like things don't
Right.
catch up, you know, they don't catch up. So they turn people off.
hmm
But the thing is, like I said, you know, as a whole, though, in America, we have a whole basis of our news media who's basically telling you or clowning religion. Even Hollywood clowns religion. They refuse to put out any kind of movies that are kind of religious based. It's ridiculous. They rather
Except
put
for the
out
ones they want
movies,
out.
right? They rather put out movies of people shooting up people, selling drugs, but anything positive, they don't really want to put it out.
You see how Mel Gibson had to do his own movie and pay for it by himself.
And kudos to him. You know, I never seen those
Yep.
movies that he did, but like, if that's what you got to do because they don't want to put it out. I mean, I think there's a lot of reasons why. I don't want to get that into because they'll probably shut this channel down if we talk about a certain group of people. And I think
Oh yeah.
Jay knows
Okay.
you
I
can
think
you
Homer knows.
you
All right, we
can't.
kind of went off on a tangent, so we can get back to what we were really talking about.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
but but, well, no, but that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about family values in America and how it reflects of like how people want to shit on American women, but let's be real. It's not a total bad thing that there is some empowerment there. It's
No, it's
just
not.
that we
it's
might have went
it
too far.
Yeah.
it's always a balance. It's always trying to get
It
that balance to
right. It
where
is a
the
balance.
man and the woman have to come to that balance to equal it out.
Mm-hmm.
And
But
in
like I said,
one individual, there has to be an internal balance as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, if you give everything to your man, what's left of you? How can you love somebody if you don't have it anymore for yourself? You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean?
Yeah.
You have to find some solace in something that you want to do for yourself. Like, so what we call it, the me time, the mommy me time. We also do that. Like, I have two kids who were like so active, and I had to take care of my parents who were both sick. My brother, who was based in Singapore, had to fly back to Manila just to look after everyone while I have my free time. You know what I mean? It's
Mm-hmm.
I get help, and I don't feel ashamed when I say I need help,
Mm-hmm.
and I get help right away from families. So, in other words, you would always have to find time to secure yourself as an individual. You may be a man or a woman, that you need that to yourself. You owe it to yourself, because if you're broken inside, you cannot repair anything. You cannot give anything, because if you don't, it's
I wanted to ask you this, Joji, Maria.
yeah.
In the Philippines, I don't know if I'm mistaken. I remember back in the U.S. years ago, when there was a divorce, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, that the men would take the kids. That was years ago, though, until the excessive women rights. Now, is it like that in the Philippines? Is the man supposed to take the kids?
No, by law, if you get separated, here's the thing:
Okay.
when you get married here, because we don't have divorce, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. When you get separated, by layman's term,
Mm-hmm.
by law, it's favoring the woman. She can have the
Same thing.
kids. The kids will have to stay with her until, I think, if I'm not mistaken, when they get to be, don't quote me on this, but when in a certain age, the kids will, if they already have theirs, they can only decide about their feelings. They would be asked where they can stay or where do you want to stay. But until they get this certain age, they reach a certain age, it has to be the mom and the
Okay.
father will have to support. It will have to be with the mother as a minor. It has to be the mom looking after them. It doesn't matter if she doesn't have money. The man has to, of course, it's not happening. Has
Mm-hmm.
to support the kids, not necessarily the woman, but the
Yeah.
kids.
Because the thing is, I would say that age would be 13 because that's the legal age of consent when a kid can make up his own mind.
Yes,
So I guess that
yes.
would be the age. But so they don't have a system set up where they garnish your checks here like a man's checks.
Uh-uh. Mm.
Oh,
That's why,
yeah. It's
you're
hard
saying
because
that.
there's a lot of jobs you can get on the street. So it's kind of hard to keep track
Mm,
of that too. Yeah.
mm, but yeah, it's always the woman or the mom who take care of the kids. Now, if in some for some reason the breakup is because of violence, of drugs, of incest, uh, the state can get the kids, and they'll
Hmm.
be with the social welfare.
Hmm.
We have organizations here like Department of Social Welfare and Development, wherein the kids are taught, like they're in school, but the parents will have to go to court if they can get the kids. I think this also same in the states, but yeah, I've seen kids in the welfare during my active days in the Rotary, and the kids will be taken care of. They're clean. They're given uniforms. We're allowed to bring Jollibee parties every now and then. Uh, and we will bring the mascots like Jollibee and McDonald's. And so these kids are well taken care of. What they are protected, but when they are not, with the DSWD, and they stay with their father who drinks or does drugs, mother who is a prostitute. Then the kids are broken. You see them out in the street. You see them begging. You see them sniffing rug B, or that glue that can intoxicate them. So you see them everywhere. That
That's
becomes
crazy. I keep hearing about those Jollibee's French fries and the poor kids. But go ahead, what you were saying? Hello?
although earlier you mentioned of the older women in the states, they feel abandoned already. You
Hmm.
know, in Manila, this is the reality. We love our old people. We take care of them, but there are reasons and some cases wherein the, the older women will or men live in an elder's place. There are in the whole of the Philippines, I think what I know of, there are only two elder houses here over the Philippines, and I've been one, and I've talked to these lolas, the old women. They say because whenever I would bring the kids to them to give them food and some sort of gifts, the lolas would tell me stories like, uh, I prefer to stay in this place and be with my my what you call this uh, elders, because I feel I belong here. My kids are having their own families. I don't want to disturb them, even if my niece or nephews would want to take me in. If the old woman is single, I would rather be staying here. I ask who's financing your stay here. We have subsidy, but also my kids would bring money. We're covered here. Let's say they get good food, but on civic organizations like Rotary and all the others, they would bring nappies, adult nappies. Sometimes we go there to give back to the older people who cannot take care of their hygiene anymore, because there are limited volunteers coming to this organization or this association. So what I'm saying is, it also happens that some cannot take care of their olds here, and it's also some reasons, maybe also the choice of the older people to not live with their parents, because with their kids, because you know they're ashamed of, or maybe they did not treat their children well, and they don't like lending to them, or sometimes there are in-laws issues that they'd rather be away, and they do not have the money to do that and get an apartment of their own. So yeah, it happens too, but it's not as rampant as what Jay was saying, that older people are getting so lonely. Here we take care of the old people.
Yeah, the culture, even at McDonald's or even going to certain places, they have a senior line, so they don't have to stand in line as long. And
yeah,
the culture just
mm,
embraces the elderly a lot better. That's what I've seen.
yes, exactly. And even us, we have a soft spot for the older women and the men. The older people. When we see them, we smile at them. We it's innate to everyone. And I think it's also good that everyone should be like that, because we're going there. We're getting old.
No,
Hmm.
not in America. We see them as easy targets to rob and play the knockout game with.
Yeah. you, you put,
Your boy Chris, man.
but yo, they're so gullible,
You
man.
you know I'm right.
No, it's true. But no, and it's sad because they really are. Yo, man, when I would call these people on the phone, and yo, they're like, just take my money. And I wanted to be like, look, don't pick up the phone ever again in your life. Like we need to bring you in the chat room somewhere because you're gonna get in trouble. And that's what they do, right? You hear it all the time. What do they do, Homer? They use their credit card for all kinds of nonsense. And then the kids
Yeah,
get the bill when they see them next week, after they came from their trip. They see them next week and say, and now they canceling a whole bunch of credit cards because they're lonely, man. It's
Mm.
crazy.
Oh
It's
wow.
crazy.
Yo,
But
Maria,
and
I
you be
wanted to
getting.
ask
No, go ahead, Chris.
Maria, I wanted to ask you a question. So you were talking earlier about like there is no divorce in the Philippines, which I think most of us knew about. But let me ask you something. You were talking earlier about how there was the military bases and a lot of these servicemen, they would get, the local girls pregnant, the bar girls pregnant, what have you. Let me ask you a question. Is there any laws that you know of in the Philippines that if a foreigner who's not a citizen gets a native, a citizen of the Philippines pregnant, and then leaves, doesn't care for that child, is there any laws against that? Do they hold that person in the country? Do they deport them, put them on some kind of a suspension so they can't come back? Like, do they do anything to them?
No.
That's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because then you have foreigners coming in and creating a burden on society. That child is going to grow up without a father unless some other dude steps in.
Yeah,
Not that
Chris,
I.
that's kind of what I was suggesting when they were trying to figure out why you may have some scammers. You have a lot of them that are upset at a lot of the foreigners.
Yeah,
Mm,
So,
exactly.
why wouldn't they? You got my mom pregnant. Now we had this bad life. My mom went off and left. I'm abandoned because of you. I'm a mixed child already. And now, we're struggling more because, this is what happened and you left us.
no, no protection at all. Unless, maybe there is, but you will have the woman, the Filipino woman, will have to file a case or a notice to the U.S. Embassy that this has happened. I think there is such, but women are not aware on how to do it. So they just let it be. Because
She probably had to get an attorney, which she can't afford.
Hmm.
exactly. And they in those 9 months that she's pregnant, she'd rather prepare for giving birth and prepare for what she's gonna do with a kid and how she's gonna uh, feed the kid after she gets birth. She gives birth, and there are occasions that she's not accepted by her family. She'll be ridiculed. She'll be like, will be, branded as a what do you call that? A prostitute. Even if he was in love with this man, he was
That's
branded
just
as, oh, you
that's
get a
just terrible.
yeah,
But
and
you're causing another burden on the family now because they're gonna be upset with them, but they still gonna feed and take care of the child. But now that's just another burden on the family that's already barely struggling to make it by.
another burden to the kid, man. I mean,
Hmm.
he gets bullied. He gets like, oh, where's your dad? He left her mom because her mom was a prostitute. It's yeah, that's reality. I mean,
Now, Maria, let me ask you another question. What is the reason? Is it a religious reason? What is the reason that there is no divorce in the Philippines to this day?
okay, there's a big factor that we are predominantly a Catholic country,
Right.
Catholic.
but some chances and occasions that these were filed in the Congress, but it never passed because of the church and because yeah, hypocrites. Sorry.
So it's totally 100%. It is religious.
Yes.
Yeah, like religious runs the state,
Mm,
kind of thing.
yeah.
Now,
Except
does
for
it does
But
religion
does
is.
anything
this
does
is
anything happen to like the man that cheats on the wife?
exactly. So you get all these Solons having three wives, and they're
Hmm.
Catholic. They have four families, and they're Catholics, and they
But
don't
do
allow
they
divorce.
do they face any punishment though for
No,
cheating?
no.
No, there's no laws against
Oh,
that.
wow.
There is, but no one. There is just a few
No one
women who
pursues
really
it.
file a suit case against their men. You go to the National Penitentiary or National Believe It prison. You hardly find someone getting imprisoned because she of bigamy or adultery.
Yeah, because nobody's
No,
taking any cases pro bono, and also nobody's going to help you and then get paid. You know,
the women would just fight for what you call this
everything is up front here. You pay
support.
everything.
It's just the support that they're after because they don't like it. You don't want me. I don't want you. You're not a good man. Then I will let you go. I don't mind. Get women pregnant, but I keep my kids. You support it if you are a strong woman. But if you're not, then you just have to look for ways and means to support your own self and your kids. Family, your support, and your man goes around and getting somebody else is pregnant again and again
Mhm.
and again and again. So,
I don't
yeah.
know where these guys find all that. Well, I guess they got a lot of time because they're not doing anything. I guess, right?
There we
I
go.
said
There
that
was
from like,
time.
I'm like, man, where are you getting all this time from?
Yeah.
It's too
Hmm.
much. Like, and that's
The
the thing.
only time
When you're
they
not doing
have,
nothing, that's when you make those mistakes. When you're not doing, you got to keep yourself busy. Not only job. Try to move forward. You're not gonna have enough time.
yeah.
But what you say?
I I had chanced upon this video of this. This is an actual court case. They have recorded it. There's this man who was hooked up with this woman years ago, and after so many years, after 18 years, this man, they only had a one night stand. Okay, this happened in the States. The guy is a black man, and so he said, I have been, Mr. Judge, I have been deducted this $1 a month from my paycheck because I have to give support to this woman's kid who I don't really know, who I haven't met, and la la la. So in the court, the woman appeared, and they said that they had, the woman said, I was with three men almost all at the same time, but I had paternity test on the two, and it turns out it's negative. So I have asked this test to be done to my daughter and get a DNA from him. And so the judge said, okay, we have the paternity result now, the DNA result. So the woman said, may I ask my girl to join us here? And she's already 18. And the man said, he was a big revelation. He gives me really big wow. He said, it is a blessing for me if I turn out to be the father of this beautiful girl, because she doesn't deserve to be abandoned. She doesn't care. But I want to know why they are deducting $1 from my pay. I don't even know her. So now I see that she deserves to have a father because she's a beautiful girl. She doesn't deserve to be alone in this world. Then I'm here to hear what the DNA test says. And so the judge opens the envelope and says, good news, she is your daughter. And the man just and the daughter embrace each other like we're hugging, like they've been missing each other for a long time. And you know, this
But
is
see, the rest of the story was the only reason why that dollar came out because she had to go get some financial assistance. I saw that one. She had to go get some
yes.
financial assistance from the government, and they had to ask a name of a father, and they put
Yes.
his name
And
down there,
so
and they went on ahead and took the $1.
yes, and what I'm saying is if the court here, the law here, encourages women to do the same, even if she's a foreigner or a local, most probably single women will not end up like single-handedly taking care of their kids. That's always been the case. I mean, but yes, going back to the question, there's no divorce. There's legal separation. There's annulment, meaning that's also based on the church's orders that when you say it's annulled by law, it did not, it's crazy, but they say that the marriage did not happen at all because there was something along the way that it's not right. They married with false documents. The age was concealed. For some numerous reasons, they can say that the marriage did not happen at all, or it was annulled or nullable, null and void. But divorce, which is clearly you can state why people are divorcing, it's not approved here yet. And I don't know if it's going to be approved in my lifetime. Definitely, I don't see that because of the religion, the Catholic religion orders here. You know, yeah. Crazy story about marriages and support, child support. But we hope that we are empowered also. These women who gets pregnant by foreign men will have the knowledge and they'll be equipped by each and every embassy. That you have the right to come and ask help from the government because our citizen has done something and he has to take responsibility towards that. But it's not known to us. It's not revealed to us.
Now, did you know part of one of the processes before you bring your wife from the Philippines to the U.S., they have to take a class that's taught by the Philippine government that kind of explains things that may happen to them when they come to the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
So they go through all kinds of things about sex slavery and all kinds of things. They have to take this class
Mm-hmm.
before they're approved to leave the Philippines.
Yeah, but that is when they reach your country. What's sad is we do not know their rights when they're still here in their own country, and they get this treatment. And they get into this predicaments. They don't even know their rights because they, for some reason, it's I don't know. Maybe they blame themselves too, or they're just happy they're going to have American children. I don't know. I don't, but definitely, they're happy to have beautiful children after that. You know.
Now here's I'm looking up the United States citizen thing. Now, if you're a kid who was born, say you're a kid and one of your parents is an American citizen and your other parent is an alien, not of America, and you're born outside of America, so you're born abroad, outside of wedlock, not being married, you could still get U.S. citizenship. You can still apply for American citizen, so you still have rights, American rights. So I would think if you're born to a Filipina and your father was an American and he ran back to wherever and he's an American citizen, you would have rights to actually apply for citizenship and then be able to basically be covered by the laws of America and
See,
then could
that's
go after that father for child
good
support.
to know. I guess there should be a discussion on that public review heard because you know no research is not one of those priorities that they have unless they're told that they have this right. These women will have to dig in and go out of their way to unless there's an organization that
But Chris, you're thinking about you still going to be dealing with the American bureaucracy,
Well, you
which
have
is
to no matter what.
well, you got to get a fraternity test, which more likely they're going
Right.
to say this,
It's
they're going to
it's
have to
stated
pay
it's
for it. The
stated it's
government's not going to pay for it.
but it's stated right. It's stated right here that it states all the list of things that are required, and basically it's a paternity test beyond convincing evidence. So it's a paternity test. Um, the father had to be a U.S. citizen of the time of conception, actually time of the person's birth, which would be normal because unless you
Right.
relinquish your citizenship, you're an American citizen no matter where you live forever until you give it up. Um, the father had to be physically present in the United States at least 5 years prior to the birth,
Mm.
um, or reaching the age of 14. And then there's a couple of things. So, but the child could get child support up until the age of 18. So yeah, you're right. But think this: say the kid's 5 years old, right? And the mother's like, you know what? I'm gonna make that bastard pay. And then she goes down to the embassy, goes through everything. They could go after
They have
him.
back pay also.
Yes, and they would just lock him up and say he's traveling around. They'll put his ass on Interpol because Interpol tracks deadbeat dads. Once they're in
Yeah,
the
they can't
system in
leave. They can't even
America,
enter certain countries.
yep.
You can't even enter certain countries if you
Once
owe back child support some
deadbeat
places.
dads go on that list in America, and if there's warrants for them, it goes into Interpol, and they track deadbeat dads around the world. They snatch them up.
see it's not
It's but
known.
yeah, that's what it is. It's like what Homer said. You have to go through the process, and for it's just like what, Homer. It's just like a typical justice system. It makes it so
Yeah.
hard for poor people to make the things happen. Like everyone's like, "Oh, the justice system is fair." No, it's not fair to poor people because poor people usually don't know the information and they don't have the money to process for processing fees. 'Cause
Even
everything
like
has a fee.
our marriage and divorce here, our marriage and divorce here. It takes me $25 to get married, and all I do is go down and apply for a marriage license. All right, but let me go get divorced. You have to have an attorney. It's going to cost you $400 or $500 just to file with the courts, and you have to go in front of a judge just for a judge to say, okay, are you sure this is what you guys want to do? And ask the woman if she needs more, is she sure she's getting enough stuff? They make you have to spend money and hire an attorney to get divorced, to go through
Yeah.
the process.
It's it just makes people jump through hoops that just are not necessary.
Why are you saying this one? These guys that are getting these partners very desperate.
Hello?
What was that? Somebody was talking.
Yeah, I think she was talking, but also even when it comes to small businesses in the Philippines, and they don't have to go through all the bureaucracy in reference to starting up small businesses and doing things like that as well. That place is humongous when it comes to small businesses because everybody's on the corner hustling to make their money.
Right.
Everywhere you look, somebody's starting up a little small business or running a little shack or doing this or doing that to make money.
Here in America, you have to have a permit to have a lemonade stand. In some states, you can't have a lemonade stand. You can't do certain things. You like in New York. New York is famous for people selling things on the street. And they sell everything. Well, you need to have a permit to do that.
How much is that? I can imagine it's got to be pretty expensive.
Actually, I don't know, but you're probably right. It probably is expensive because it's prime real estate. You think about it, your store, right? Your store paying tens of thousands of dollars a month in rent anywhere in a city to have a place. And here's some guy standing on a street corner in front of you selling whatever he wants. He's got to have a permit that's, pretty reasonably priced. That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah, but check this out. I know of a story where this guy had a nice little idea for a restaurant. He started this restaurant. He was making these specific items, right? So with the Filipino, when they came in, they would eat it and they say, "Oh, this is nice." So they made the exact same item, put a stand right outside of their restaurant.
There you go.
They didn't get killed?
No, but what can you do? That's just how it is over there. There's stands on every corner.
Let me tell you something. Even in New York, if somebody did that, they're getting a baseball bat across the head. Even in New York, people listen. In New York, if somebody puts their time and effort to build a business, you better believe if somebody pulled that crap, they're getting beat down right then and there.
Yeah. You don't see a lot of drama on the streets in the Philippines. A lot of the little crimes and stuff you get there are crimes of opportunity. Pickpockets, you leaving your wallet out, you leaving your purse down, you leaving your backpack down.
Right.
You don't see a lot of crime in reference to people fighting and hollering on the streets and cursing and all that stuff. If you're in a location and somebody raises their voice, they look at you like you're crazy. And most of the time it's the foreigner that's doing making all the noise.
That's interesting.
Okay. Even at the malls, you can see boys and you look at the stranger.
Hey, where's everybody at?
I think
Are we
lost
getting any
Jay.
questions? Any subscribers asking any questions, Jay? You still awake?
Yeah, I'm here. No, nobody's asking questions. They're having deep conversations over here.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. So it's cool. No questions. Yeah, this turned out not to be a Q&A. It just turned out to be good conversation about a couple of things. We touched base on a lot of things which I thought was good. We had a couple more things to touch base on, but we'll wrap it up soon. I think this was a great podcast. We spoke about relationships, people trying to keep up with the Joneses, and that's another thing too, which we didn't touch base on enough. That's what people get caught up in the U.S., and that's what people want to get away from. That's why people want to get out, I believe. Keeping up with the Joneses, consumerism, also the things that's confusing, the Americans, the right and left wing, the politics. A lot of people feel like they want to run away because they feel like America's going to crumble, and
America ain't gonna crumble though.
yeah, it's not going to crumble, but a lot of people are scared of, what's going on with Trump. And some people, not all. I wasn't affected. I was already out here before Trump got elected. To be honest with you, I don't care about politics. I know your boy Chris doesn't. It's all fake. Whoever's in office was meant to be in office, you know. And so politics doesn't bother me. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. They're all controlled by the people that run things. There's a select group of people that run everything. So what's happening and who's in office and what they're saying doesn't affect anybody. What Obama was saying or doing, that was going to happen anyway. What Trump is saying or doing, that was meant to happen anyway. It's a big plan, so I don't get bothered by it. If anybody
Well,
wants
look,
to touch base.
politics is important. It's important to understand it. The problem is people don't understand it. And that's the
Yeah.
problem, is that you have social engineering and agenda-driven media, so they're making people crazy. They're making people go nuts over Trump for no damn reason. Like
They
it's
want the
it
race relations. They want these
yes,
situations to
they
occur.
want they want they want to keep people divided, and they're doing a good job of it. They really are. They're making it a hell of a lot worse, and it's crazy. But the thing is, smart people see through it. Smart people who, and when I mean smart, I don't mean people that went to college. I mean people that are just smart enough to know that the shit that they're telling you is all made up for a reason. Like they're trying to steer you down a road. You know, they're trying to make things look a certain way when they're really not that way because they want to get a reaction. They want you fighting with people. They want you divided. And I think that's what you see that with a lot of I don't want to say expats, but a lot of people that have maybe taken the time to move to another place for a year or two or something. It's one of the things you hear from people that is like, they get away from all that, and by being in a different foreign country, see, this is what kind of drives me nuts. See, like, I'm very in tune with the political scene here in America. If I went to another country, I would be the same way. Like, I'd want to know about the politics of that country because
Mhm.
I want to know when it's the time to get out.
Yeah.
If because like people go to Thailand. Well, a lot of people, the majority of people that go to Thailand, they're just showing you they live this great life or whatever. There's very few people over in Thailand who make videos that'll ever talk about the government, and they'll ever talk about how it's a military government and how, they kind of enforce laws loosely. They enforce them when they want to enforce them. That would make me a little unnerving. I would be a little like, do I got to know the signs of like when I got to jet and get the hell out of here,
Mhm.
and where's the nearest place I should go to? Because you don't want to be caught in those situations, especially if you're not close to a U.S. embassy.
Mhm.
And that's another thing too. Like you feel kind of like you don't want to be in that situation, So you want
It's
to, you
funny you
want
said
to.
that. I'm right around the corner from the U.S. Embassy, by the way. But go ahead. Sorry.
So you want to still be in tune no matter where you go. You want to know the politics. You want to know the local politics. You want to know how things are run. But it's good to understand politics so you can understand, the climate of the situation. But as far as like the dog and pony show that we're used to in America, yeah, it's all BS. It's just agenda driven. There's a group of people controlling everything, pulling all the strings, and everything else is just a show.
Mhm.
But I say like this, we talked about relationship. You don't have to leave your country to have a good relationship. I didn't have to leave the country, but I chose to leave the country. I knew what I was looking for, which I didn't find here. So I happened to just find that someplace else. No matter where you go, you're going to have women that are going to be sad, be slicksters and hustle you and this and that. You have to go out there and find the right one that's for you. If
Mhm.
you want somebody that's down to earth, that's down with family, you want a culture that's, they don't have much, they're happy just being themselves. You know, Philippines is for you.
Mhm. Yeah, and the thing is too with women, every woman wants security, and guys know that. Like guys are not dumb. You know, it's never going to be a situation. I mean, it just has to be a situation. It's cheaper to keep her. Also, not only that, to where your wife is not just looking for that. You understand? Of course, you're gonna have to provide. Every man has to be a provider until he dies if he's gonna have a family. But guys just don't want to be taken advantage of. And that goes back into keeping up with the Joneses. A guy doesn't want Homer knows. Guy doesn't want to say, okay, you know what? We had our couch for 2 years. We need a new one to make the colors of the wall pop. You know, like what's that? Or I had the car for 2 years. Oh, but I want a Benz now. That's the thing guys are trying to get away from. To
Yeah,
be
but if
honest with you,
if you can afford that
you
lifestyle,
afford it.
that's
Yeah,
okay. It's okay, and
I
that
can't
should be
afford it.
fine. But yeah, the problem
I'm
is if
I'm gonna be honest. I can't afford it.
but
I
that
can't
goes
afford
but
that
that
lifestyle in America.
right,
That's
but
But
that
Jay,
goes
tell me this though, Jay, if you prepared to say you worked in New York and you met
Mhm.
your wife and you guys were both working good jobs and prepared and put a nice little chunk of money away and you can live that lifestyle and it's not hurting you, wouldn't you like to live that lifestyle?
Oh yeah, of course. But what happens to a lot of guys, especially after things change around out there, finance. Even Homer, you went through a hit with the
Oh, big hit,
real estate.
my divorce.
Yeah, and then your wife wanted you to do what? She keep wanting to live that lifestyle when it was time to change.
Yep.
So your ex-wife, it was like, okay, I got to make a decision here. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I can't afford this anymore. And then a lot of people don't are not willing to adapt. The thing with women here, and it's still women like that in the U.S. Like we're saying, you need a woman that needs to adapt. It's just women are more willing to adapt here because they already have used to adapting. Except for, don't be wrong, in the Philippines, you are still gonna find those like bad and bougie, right, Chris? that are gonna
you,
want to have Prada and want to spend unnecessary money, but they can afford it. But then if they have to change tomorrow, will they be willing to change? I don't know. Maybe I've never been in that situation.
yeah, like I said, it goes back to what I was saying about keeping up with the Joneses and
Hmm.
consumerism is that, you know, the problem, like you said, like, all right, say like, you know, the person wants to buy a new couch just to make sure it fits the core that they upgraded, or like, oh, I had that car for 2 years, but I got a new car. That is not really, you can't put that on a whole gender of people.
Hmm.
That's more of somebody personally just not understanding the financial situation they're in.
Exactly.
And that's a lot of marriages are like that. It doesn't have to
Hmm.
do with anything other than two people just not agreeing on financial situations and what's important, you know. Um, but the problem with that too is you do have a lot of people. I don't want to put this on women, but like you do have a lot of women who believe that their role in America is I'm going to find myself a dude with a good job who makes good money, and I'm just going to bullshit all day and just hang out with my friends and shop. And there are people, and you know what? There are guys out there that can afford to do that.
Hmm.
But the problem is there's not enough of those guys. So there's a lot of women who are like, man, my friend married this guy and he's got
Hmm.
money and this and that.
Comparison.
And the problem is when you realize that, then you don't need to be with that woman.
Hmm.
That girl ain't for you. You got to be able to go like, this situation ain't right for me because I'm not that dude. So, I'm out.
Hmm.
And you can't
All
change
right.
people. If some chick's got that in her mind, like, listen, we all been to the clubs. We all hang out in clubs. We all do this and that in our lifetime. When you meet some random chick at a club, you could tell, is she cool or is she there looking for a dude who got money?
Hmm.
You get that vibe. You're like, they're looking at dudes to see what the dude's wearing, see, what's he driving, and you should know if that's not what you're about, then that's not a chick for you.
Hmm.
And you can't let a child keep you in that relationship.
Oh yeah.
All right. When I
Definitely
got
not.
my divorce, it was the hardest thing, and I stuck around longer than I should have because that was hard for me. That was my first child, so that was hard for me to step away from that. But my reality was, do I want my daughter to look at this relationship and think that's how her relationship is supposed to be? No. So
Hmm.
it was better for me to get out that relationship or find a healthy relationship so she can actually see this is how it's supposed to be. A man and woman are supposed to be together. They're supposed to have this type of relationship. You're going to have to go, you're going to have ups and downs in the relationships. But I ultimately wanted my daughter to see a healthy relationship, not a bad one that I was in at that present time. I paid for it because the government steps in and says you need to pay your wife this much, your ex-wife this much. But you can't pay for peace of mind, and you can't pay for your child seeing the way a healthy family is supposed to be.
Yep, and P City said it right. We fall for beauty too much. That's why we end up with the wrong one sometimes. You know, it's so true. It's so true.
Yeah, well, we fall for what we think we should have, you know what I mean? Like everybody wants that nice car, they want that hot chick, they want nice jewelry, they want, but you that's not always meant what you're meant to have, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, I
Sometimes
mean,
But
you
they
gotta know
trick
what to
you. They
look
do. They
right.
do that. What's that car show? Hey, it's just $249 a month. That's all you got to pay. It's $249 a month for this car. But
hmm
you're not thinking of the long term of how much you're gonna pay because you're paying 9%, 10% interest. But they
hmm
Nope.
tell you that they embed in you that monthly payment, which is not bad. $200 for a car.
Yep. Or you
Yeah.
don't have good credit and you're paying 20%. And
You
But
can have something beautiful and simple. That's the best deal.
well, they're out there. No, don't get me wrong. They are out there. And that's hard to find almost anywhere, to be honest with you. Will it be easier here or other countries? Of course, but it's still hard to find. Some guys do get lucky. Some guys do get lucky. But
I got lucky.
yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Oh,
you got to think you're gonna get lucky in a country where like the number of women that's beautiful is like in a high percentage.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know. You guys give a percentage. What do you guys think? Any expats out there? Anybody in the chat that's seen Filipino woman? What do you think? What would you say the percentage of the beauty is here in the Philippines? What do you say, uh, Homer?
Probably 80, 85%.
I was thinking around that number. I was thinking like maybe 75.
Yep,
Cause you,
75, 85. The women are just, it's just, yes, they're gorgeous.
hmm
beauty of the Philippines keep shining through. Get
See,
It's
that?
more fun in the Philippines. That's they're saying.
yeah, it is. And also the crazy thing, I see this a lot. Spoke about it a couple times, a couple podcasts. But a lot of these women, do you find that, Joji? Like, there's so many beautiful women that some of these women get ignored.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get ignored. That's the crazy thing. Guys, you got to come out.
Especially if you're a little thicker. If you're a little thicker,
And,
a
and,
lot,
and
a lot of them don't like them real thick with a little meat on
that's
them, but the
and that's
Americans do.
funny. See some thick ones, right? With bodies like black women. I'm not talking about skinny
Yeah.
black women. I'm talking about full black women. Who? No, don't be wrong. There's a lot of Filipino guys that like that too. I can't say that, but a lot of these women would get ignored. Like for instance, my wife's sisters. The pretty ladies. Guys are not just running up. When you walk down the block, especially in Manila, right? Because you're gonna see more people at one time. You see what I'm saying? So you can be walking. You'll see it. There's so many different pretty women just walking around.
Mhm.
A lot of times they're shy, right, right, right.
I'm shy.
They're shy, so they're not gonna look at you like, oh, and they're not gonna welcome you. And sometimes they will, but they're not gonna have that welcoming look. So, and then you see a lot of guys out here. They're not just walking up to women like a guy or even U.S. You know what I mean? You don't see them really approaching women on the street out here.
They're
So
just used to it. They're just so used to seeing these women. They feel like they're all ordinary now.
yeah, and I've had and your boy Chris, I think you said it before. You said, wouldn't these guys be upset with these guys taking so many of their women? They don't care because there's so many of them. That's beautiful. The crazy thing is they don't like what we would like. That's the crazy part.
Yeah.
Like they want the girl to be extra white, right? Extra
Yes.
pale,
Skinny.
skinny. I'm talking about pale the way they look. They want them to look like Korean or white. You know, when us guys come out here, we're looking for the one that has the golden brown complexion.
Yes.
Like
Exotic,
maybe
exotic look.
exotic, yeah, like maybe my complexion, maybe even a little bit darker. Guys like that exotic look, a little bit more meat in their bones. You know what, guys, where we're from would even take a little bit of pudge on the stomach because the rest of the package is good. You see what I'm saying? It's true. Guys here don't want that. Woman got pudge on the stomach. What they say me, oh, she's fat, right? She's too big. Sometimes you see women like they're not even big, and the woman out here called them big, and everybody says, "Oh, you're fat," and you're like, "This woman is 145 pounds."
Yeah.
What do you mean she's fat? You know, she gets called fat. Nobody talks to her, and she's gorgeous. You know, so I don't know. I suggest anyone. I started dating online, but I would suggest anyone just come out here and just
Yeah, Jay, I think
start talking.
people have different tastes, you
You
know.
know.
Same as like you see gorgeous white ladies coming here, and
Hmm.
you see all these guys googling over them, and
Hmm.
yet they don't notice the Filipinas. But well, yeah, if you go beyond looking beyond the beauty, and you'll be lucky to have beauty and brains and smartness from a girl, and the kind heart, and that's not really here. That is not here.
Sorry, Maria. Chinicho said, "Can she twerk though?"
Yeah. Oh, would you mind?
Hold on, I gotta tell you something. Hold on. I'm sorry to cut you off. You know
They
what's
gotta do
funny?
the they
Hold
gotta
up,
do the
hold up,
spaghetti dance. Do the
hold up. Tell
spaghetti
him.
dance.
Hold up. Maria knows this. I know Maria. I know you've seen a twerking video before. The girls that are out here twerking got no booty, right?
You
Nothing.
know?
And then you see the thick girls like, wait a minute, she should be twerking. Why is
Yeah.
this skinny girl and she's a star? It's crazy, right, Maria? They got these twerking girls, right? They twerk for President Duterte when he got elected.
Oh,
And
Lord.
I said, wait a minute. I said, why are they up there?
Mm-hmm.
And then they had a model show, right? I was at a model show and then swimsuit model show. And I said, wait a minute. Like the girls were going upstairs, and then I was going down the escalator, right? And I said, you guys right there are prettier than them. And the girl started laughing. I said, guys would want to see you more than them because it's true. You know, they promote skinniness and extra white. And
It's
I'm like,
commercialism,
they
Jay.
don't get it.
It's
Huh?
commercialism all because when they say thin is in, thin is beautiful, in reality, you guys don't really like thin. And I've talked to a lot of men about this. Being I was in this beauty glamour industry before.
Hmm.
They like pretty faces, but they don't like skinny girls. It's just that these minds are molded because of commercialism.
Oh
uh,
man.
it's the model type, the model beauty. That's why they're. But it's not also true anymore. In the department store, you have lines which has plus sizes for Filipino women. So what does that mean? It connotes a development in acceptance. It connotes development in how women are perceived nowadays. You're not supposed to be just a beauty, but you also have to have that heart. And yes, you can talk, but
Man.
um,
I tell you this though, Maria. Sorry to cut you off again, but
yeah.
see, but I can't do this no more. But if this was 5 years ago, right, I would be out here right now, right? Forget all of the bars and all of that stuff guys want to go to. I would start me a thick Filipino woman's magazine. Dudes would eat it up. Yeah, I suggest somebody if you want, that's what you do because
Yeah.
that's what guys really want to see, and that would be more popular than the
Uh,
magazine here because guys from all over the world want to see that. You get what I'm
Actually,
saying?
yeah, I,
They don't
I
got
was
that out here.
I was a publisher of the celebrities magazine before, and I had a section there for plus size women. I had a few like 5 pages devoted to beautiful, big, beautiful Filipino women, and we do fashion for them. We do makeups for them, and they tell us about the story of how happy they are with their bodies and how happy they are with their themselves. It's more of empowering them. But yes, that idea is pretty awesome. You can
Hello,
finance that magazine for me.
hello. Expat and trainer said, Japanese porn is the best. Hey, I gotta steal this line from Sus Style. Expat and training. There will be no jerking off during the show.
Yes.
But it's true too, Maria, that the girls they like the guys that look like women.
With the baklas.
They,
No,
it
these
bugs
are
me out.
younger women perhaps. They like pretty.
No, the older women like masculine men. But I know those little girls, they be looking at these little boys that look like girls, and I'm like, what? Huh?
Yeah, some
What?
do. Some do.
I don't
That
know. I'm I'm not trying to assault nobody. I'm just telling how it is. That's what you see.
Yeah, that is also the influence of other Asian countries. Uh, Korean boys are very popular to Filipino women, and
Oh.
Koreans are having very white, silky, smooth, white skin, chiseled jaws. They have their eyes enlarged by surgery. They have pointed nose. They have brown hair. Sometimes they got blue, green hair, and yeah, women. The millennials love them. That's why there's a lot of Korean novellas being aired right now, Jay. Right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Filipino teleseries and telenovelas from Korea.
Oh, no, I'm laughing because your boy Chris said, you hear that, fellas? You need to turn into a Korean boy if you want a Filipino. Oh my! But you know what's funny? I see the Korean guys out here, right?
Uh-huh.
It's funny, Maria. I see like it's these guys in my building. These two guys, right? Yo, they walk, and I think they're Korean too, because
Yeah.
they come outside and they dress. The guy had on some what do you call those? It wasn't bell bottoms. He had on like the woman's
Skinny
shoes.
jeans?
Yeah, no skinny jeans. But you know when they come up like when they come up over your ankles. I forgot what they
Mhm.
call those. Capris.
Joggers.
He had on some
Uh,
capris and he had on a coat, and I'm like, yo, man, it's too hot for that coat.
Yeah.
He had on his glasses, the circle glass, and he just walking like he's a model with his friend. And I'm like, yo, them dudes get all the girls right there. Because that's what they like she said, they look at the Korean dramas, right? And they see
Yeah.
those men that look like that, and that's what they want. But Maria's right though. Those are little girls. The grown women
Mhm.
favor more of the masculine men.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So but no, guys, you'll be all right. You come out here, you know, come out here, just talk, man. That's my advice. Just talk, talk, talk.
Shout
You know,
out to my man.
yeah, talk. Just talk, talk, talk to different women. Talk to different women. Talk to different women. That you are gonna get some play. At first, they're gonna be like, "Who the hell is this guy?" Or they say, "Oh, this guy's ugly." Or the next one may say, "Oh, nah, I don't want him." And then that next one, and she'll be pretty and everything. Oh, hey, how you doing? And you hit the jackpot.
Yeah.
You hit the and the thing is too, how it is out here. Like, say if you just talk, 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 talk. If you give them your number, they're going to text you right away.
yeah. So soon as you get there, get you a
Yeah,
SIM card, get you a local number, and you just give them that number right away.
yeah. And if you're in a mall, you just if you see a girl you like, just walk up to, hey, how you doing? Would you like to text me? Yeah, text me. I want to speak with you. And then you never know because she's around her friends or something, and then later, you got three text messages, and you're like, oh, wow, that worked.
Yeah.
So just put yourself out there. Don't be
Just
shy.
dinner and movie, you good. It probably cost you about $12, but dinner and a movie, you'll be good.
You'll be good, man. You'll be good. Come out here because believe it or not, a lot of these Filipinas, the ones that you may like, I'm not saying don't get me. There's a lot of good Filipinos online, but most of these women feel shamed to go online, right? Right, Maria?
Yeah.
A lot of girls are shy and they don't want to go online. They feel
True.
embarrassed. Like
True.
when I was in the mall the other day, and you hold the camera up at them and you're joking with them,
Mhm.
they don't want to be on camera because they're shy.
They ran away. I saw that.
You seen that, right? Yeah, that's what they do. They run away.
Mhm.
But they're happy that you're speaking with them.
Yes.
And just be yourself. If you walk up to them like, "Hey, how you doing?" Da, 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 they may get shy. You may think, "Oh, they don't like me."
Yeah. Give me your phone number.
Give me your phone number. Hey,
They'll text you.
They're so not used to getting
talk to.
the approach.
Approach like that. Yeah.
Yes,
See,
yes. Either they find they're really shy or they try to say, wow.
Chris is killing me. He said, "Just wear a shirt to the mall that says I got money, and you will get the date you want." Yo, you know what's crazy?
What?
You could do that, and it would be funny too.
Yes.
It would
Yes.
be hilarious. Yo, just go and have fun, man. Yeah, wear a shirt that says I got money, and walk up to a
But
girl.
it doesn't matter though. You go there, it doesn't matter
It
what you
doesn't
do or
matter.
how you come about it. You'll have a good
Exactly.
time regardless.
Exactly. You're gonna get because if you just yourself, everybody likes to joke here and there. Nobody just like I'm mad
Exactly.
all day. I'm upset all day.
Women here are very happy because
Yeah.
they're comfortable in conversing. You remember, Jay, when you were in Divisoria?
Mm-hmm.
And this funny lady said, "You want a third wife? I can be your third wife." I mean, it's a joke that you can randomly get from women. Like they're very comfortable in how they communicate, and they're
Mm-hmm.
really basically funny,
Yeah.
without meaning a lot of seriousness there. But they just want you to be comfortable because you're a foreigner. They
Mm-hmm.
want you to they want you to see the good side of the Filipinos in general. We're
Mm-hmm.
very humorous. We're very funny.
Yeah, guys, stay away from the bars. I do suggest that.
Yeah. I sorry.
Because no, you can
Well,
yeah, like, huh?
what's wrong with bar girls, man?
No,
Some
I'm not
people
saying like,
some people are into that, man.
hey, I'm not trying to knock them. I'm not saying, I'm just giving my advice. Cause I don't know. That's how I feel, man.
It depends on what kind of girl you're looking for. Put it
Depends what
label
kind of
like
girl
that.
Mm-hmm.
you're looking
Mm-hmm.
for. You want it real quick. See, the thing is this. This is how I see it. This is stuff used to do when I lived in New York. You know what I would do with my boys when I was young, when I moved to New York? We would go to New York. We didn't have no money. Of course, everybody can afford nice clothes, you know? We get dressed up, go to New York looking fresh, and we would talk to 40 to 50 different women if we had to. You know what happened by the end of the night? You know, I got 20 phone numbers, and I'm not saying to be a player, but eventually people gonna say, "Oh yeah, yeah, I like this guy," and you just walk through and just having fun, talking with them, and they're gonna give you the number,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Unless anybody has something to say.
Oh,
Well,
that's pretty quiet.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, everybody seemed like they are ready to go. We have been on for 2 hours.
I got one thing to say. I say it like this.
All right.
Come to the Philippines on vacation, and you'll see for yourself. That's
yes.
all we got to say. I enjoy it. Jay enjoy it. There's plenty of people out there that enjoy it. Live your life. Come there, just coming on vacation, and just enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
And that's all you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
True. That's right. I agree.
that's it. Until next time.
All right. Thank you guys.
See you guys later.
Later.
Peace.
Bye.
Peace.
Peace.